So it sounds like for us, the challenge that we have when we're managing IT teams and leading IT teams is that you have people that are kind of planted in the old world of technology and the importance of firefighting, those kind of heroics. We gauge our success on how technical we are, how much we know about the stuff. We need to move them from that world to a world where they're more well-rounded.
Agreed. Yes.
And the survey from the Tech Collective was, employers that responded said, this is what we're looking for in employees over the next 10 years.
Yep. If you make heroes out of those that embody the behavior you're actually looking for, I guarantee you others are going to mirror it. It's just what happens. We mirror the people that we admire, that we see that others admire.
So there sounds like there's a responsibility that we'd have as IT leaders to actually help bridge that gap and accelerate that gap.
We have to make that decision. This is a choice that we can make. We can choose to make that shift happen. And there is action that we can take that doesn't necessarily tie to budget, doesn't necessarily tie to technology. It's more about even changing the dialect that we use when we engage with our teams. Bring business results, business outcomes, business concepts into the team meetings that you're having with IT team members when you're discussing the technology tools and things that they support. Something's down, ask that extra question. Who are the users and what couldn't they do? That's about business. That's not about the technology itself. So you start to change that dialect and make that intentional decision to change the language that you're using, and they will follow.
So it sounds like we have a lot on our plate. Culture, trust, the skill sets that our employees possess. How about things like organizational improvement models, like ITIL, ISO, Lean, those kind of things? Do they have a place in helping the run get better?
Yeah, I really think that they do. Those models fundamentally are about consistency. And being reactive and firefighting as much as we end up being, a lot of that has to do, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, a lot of it has to do with not having a polished, well-oiled, consistent IT run operation. There's enough tribal knowledge that happens over here, or there is action and liberties that an individual technologist takes that they really shouldn't, that impacts other areas of the operation or the business. Having things like an ITSM approach are about making your platform very, very stable, very repeatable, and very lean and efficient, such that you may be able to shift some of your run budget over to other areas. Now, what I will say is getting to an ITIL compliant or ITIL modeled environment, that's expensive too. It can be costly to do that. It takes effort, takes time, takes investment. So that is an investment in transforming the way that you run your IT operation that ultimately results in being able to save run investment such that you can invest in growth and transformation later.
How many people here are in the room that are exploring like an ITIL framework for your IT operations? Show of hands, ITIL. So a couple people. How many people have kind of a system in place today that you use to track, say, incidents that come in or change management,
portfolio management, service catalog, those kinds of things.
So almost everyone it looks like, has a system to manage stuff coming in. So if they have that, why would they want to look at ITIL or ISO or something like that?
I don't believe that it has to be ITIL. I don't believe that it has to be ISO. I think that you should have a consistent IT services management practice that is, those standards, ISO or ITIL, whichever one you want to subscribe to, basically it's just a framework that you can refer to in order to build out and make sure that you address all the key areas that are involved. But it's about having lean, consistent, stable, foundational operation.
So in an ITIL environment, because it is a framework, or ISO, or whatever else you want to use out there, what I would imagine the benefit that would bring looking at something like that is consistency of language.
Absolutely, and I would also say that because ITIL is becoming so commonplace, many of the technology tools that are out there are, for managing IT operations, IT services management, they're actually ITIL-centric or ITIL-compliant or ITIL-modeled.
Right.
So, you refer to this model, this reference model for for properly run IT operations. You have tools and technologies that you can overlay on top of that for the management and be doing it in a more efficient and consistent way, those things married together is probably easier than trying to figure out how to do it on your own.